and he's in trouble. He's going to run. He's going to get the first down.
Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide. Sauce time. The Pitt Panthers have pulled a stunning upset over the West Virginia Mountaineers.
And Johnny Majors gets a ride across the field.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Semple Fi podcast. I'm your host, Zack Kaminsky. I'm joined by my co-host, Mason Kling. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Pitt got a win. It was a crazy week of football. It was fun.
It was fun. I mean, I didn't think it would be a good week.
The
upsets didn't happen, but it was still a good week to watch and be like, oh.
The biggest tease of a week there.
I feel like that's been like all season where it's like we've been so close to greatness and we just have not had it.
It was just the fact that it was like pretty much like half of it was 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, and 4 were all close games.
Yeah.
5 lost.
Yeah.
We'll get to the full recap, but I think if things had fallen differently this week, we would have been in contention with like 2007 for the craziest season ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is a very real possibility that, like, I don't know, some of these teams start losing. You talk about 2-loss LSU, like some of these 2-win teams start to get in the mix here.
Oh, yeah, 2-win teams.
2-loss teams. Yeah,
yeah. Akron,
UMass is looking like a New Year's 6 here.
Jesus. We are not joined by foreign correspondent Kent Vanderwood tonight. He's in Qatar right now. He got his footballs mixed up. He was really confused when the goalposts were forsaken for real goals.
He was also very disappointed when he found out that Wales was a country and not the animal.
He really thought we'd be beating them up on land, but he's there for the draw. And unfortunately, he has once again been arrested. He had a Bud Light without the zero, and unfortunately, Qatari prison is not as good as Yemeni prisons. There's no landlines, and we're just hoping that he comes home safe for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. He'll be home for the holidays.
Yeah. Sorry. With that out of the way, and with Kent in another nation, let's go into, as we always do, on our recap shows. We're going to go first into the Pitt recap. So the final score, Pitt 28, Duke 26. This one was not fun to watch, was it?
No, because I couldn't get a read on what the hell was going to happen at any point in this game.
Yeah, it was.
I would love to see like the score or the percentage win projection for this one, because I'm sure it was all over the map here.
Coleman, now he comes back to flank.
The tab is unmuted. Apologize for that. So the lowest win expectancy was Pitt 54%. So it always was above 50% for Pitt. And even when Duke was pulling in late, Pitt still had upwards of 90%. Which I don't really agree with. I thought it should have dropped down quite a bit because there was a lot of time left in that fourth quarter when they were within one score.
Yeah.
But
and even coming down in that last drive when Duke was down 8 and they needed the 2-point conversion to stay alive.
They were still moving that ball.
Yeah, and that last play was bad. But I don't know. The earlier parts of the game, I didn't catch as much of.
I was watching the whole game. We definitely looked sort of like a theme with this team is we look a lot better earlier than we do late, which is an issue, obviously. But we'll get into everything else. But we'll start with the box score, right? Izzy had another great game, 17 carries for 113 and a touchdown. He won ACC Running Back of the Week awards. Riley Leonard was a very, very effective passer. It wasn't effective. He was 24 for 45, but he still had 290 and 3 touchdowns. No turnovers. We were able to shut down the Duke rushing attack. They totaled only 63 yards as a team, which is, impressive for this rushing attack, averaging over 200 yards a game, which was mentioned several times in the broadcast, but it was definitely a very impressive performance by the run defense. I think the pass defense they had a lot of good routes, a lot of good schemed up stuff where they just hitting open throws, and towards the end of the game, sort of like always, they were gassed from the offense being as inept as it was. This was a good Keaton Slovis game until it became a bad Keaton Slovis game. It was 15 for 32 for 190, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Those 2 picks we'll get to them, but they were atrocious. They killed drives, and really it's starting to get bad out here.
Yeah, he looked good. I think it was was that the first drive that he threw that touchdown pass?
I don't.
Or did that come later?
His touchdown pass was the last drive of the first half, and then the picks came in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, first half Keaton was fine, and then second half Keaton made me kind of lose the faith on him again.
I think I'm fully out on it. Okay, ready for the play-by-play?
Yep.
All right, Duke starts with a 3-and-out. Defense holds after 3 straight incompletions from Riley Leonard. Then Pitt on their first drive, Keaton Slovis hits a 20-yard pass to start it off, and then after a couple of easy runs that pretty much don't convert on third down, deep in Duke territory, we settle for a field goal, so we're up 3-0 after the first drive of the game. Duke and Pitt then exchange punts, and this is the punt that gets blocked. Special teams have kind of been a disaster for Pitt this year. I think this is our second punt block, if I'm not forgetting one, is this in West Virginia. We've had other bad punts this year.
Yeah, there have been other mishaps for sure. I can't remember any more blocks per se, but it's been a problem. It's one of those things that is not really an excuse.
I mean, and I've always thought that Pitt has had sort of a subpar punting game. Like, Christodoulou was solid, but he did not have a very strong leg, or at least consistently strong. He could hit a long punt, but not very consistently. But this one, there was just an unblocked guy on the punt, so that sucked. That really did suck. Not the first punting mishap of the game either. One in the second half we'll get to. So Duke follows it up on the short field. They start at the Pitt 42, and Rivalry Leonard has his first passing touchdown of the day, which, okay, you started driving Pitt territory, and you get a touchdown after a big momentum shift. So
again, not really a great starting point there for the defense. So a lot of these points that Duke even scored today were from, again, some turnovers, not being put in the best situation.
Absolutely. So Pitt follows us up with another punt. They get a first down, but then 2 straight incompletions on a second and a 3rd and 8 lead to a punt. But this one gets muffed by Jalen Calhoun of Duke. It looks like it kind of hit him in the nuts. But either way, they follow up that muff punt with a touchdown of their own. Izzy run, so now 10-7 Pitt. So after exchanging punt, Pitt's second drive after that is another field goal drive. There was a big Jared Wayne pass on this, but the offense once again sputters. There was a 3rd down play call to Daniel Carter, the screen, which I didn't agree with. I don't know if that's just him making the wrong read, or if that was the go-to route, but I didn't like that. Or we settled for a field goal. It was a 51-yarder from Ben Sauls, who has quite honestly looked really good. Ever since the Tennessee game, he's looked absolutely great as our kicker.
Yeah, and I mean Heinz Field is tough to kick at too. So he's looked pretty solid. He's made some long ones. So yeah, I know we were kind of iffy about him at first, but lately he's been very solid. Right,
I think there's a reason that he won the starting job, because I think he has the better leg out of him and Scarton. And Scarton's more consistent as far as your short yardage field goals were last year, but I think Saul's really come into his own, and he won ACC Specialist of the Week, and reservedly so. I think he had 4 field goals. I can't remember, but he had a great day.
Yeah.
So after this, Duke has a long touchdown drive, a 6-minute drive, 11 plays. They go 75 yards. It was just they could not be stopped on 3rd down. It was just ridiculous. And this I have to give credit to the Duke offense. They looked really good all day. And I think we knew that coming in. They were going to be a really good offense. I mean, to hold them 26, it was scarier than I would like it to be. I think it's the offense's problem, because they only scored 21. But they were they had it. They had us in the passing game, especially on third downs. They just couldn't get off the field. So they score. They leave about 3 minutes left on the clock, and Pitt executes a great drive to end the half. They get the ball with just under 3 minutes left, and Keaton Slovis looked really good on this drive. He had long passes to... First off, he had a third down scramble for a first down, which... Whoa.
This might be like his third on the year.
Yeah. Last one I remember was the big one, the West Virginia game.
Yep.
But then, long pass to Bub Means, long pass to Jared Wayne, 11-yard pass to Kanata Mumfield. And then with 10 seconds left in the half, he throws a strike, a cover 2 killer to Jared Wayne. Personally, my guy. I think he's probably one of the best players on the team. But that leads us with us going up into half 20-14. Huge. If
that's a field goal, like if we don't convert that last third down at the end of the game where Slovis threw the touchdown, who knows what happens in this game. I think that was a huge momentum play. And I mean, it came back like at the end of the game too.
Yeah, it was also just a great call in my eyes. It was a great call for the defense, and like he made the throw. It was an easy throw to make, pitch and catch.
Yeah, I saw. I can't remember if one of us sent it to each other or where I saw it. If it was just on my Twitter timeline, but I saw Mike Glennon, I guess, has some extra time on his hands because I saw him breaking. He's like a film guy on Twitter, and he was breaking. He like broke down that play and like talked about like how
he was
the
bringing
line
up
shifted.
the line shift. So it was Zubovich. They were showing like a 5-man front, all-out blitz, and he keyed into something where he saw that the right half line would be dropping into coverage. So he points left. The whole line shifts left. They pick up the uneven pressure off the left side. Keaton isn't rushed. He makes the throw. It was really cool.
It was pretty, yeah.
And we're gonna have to bother him now. I need that all-22 kid.
I know. I know.
Like the first all-22 I've seen. I'm like, I need more.
Yeah. How is he? He's a connected guy.
He's in.
It fell off the back of the truck.
Right. He got his severance papers from the Bears, but it had like an all-22 in the back of the envelope, holding up like Willy Wonka's golden ticket.
Yeah.
He's like, I guess I'll just be Dan Orlovsky now.
What team is he on?
He can't be employed if he's getting all-22 film.
He is.
He is?
I'm pretty sure, man. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
His Twitter bio says NFL QB.
Okay, but NFL QB. He's a free agent currently.
That'll do it.
I mean, he's NFL. He's like, yeah, I was in the NFL. You know?
Okay.
I think that's the whole...
I just don't want the dream to die, man. Somebody signed Mike Glennon.
We let the band play neck and let the neck play football.
Exactly. Yeah, that was kind of cool breakdown to get like inside.
No, like seeing line shifts like that are so cool to me, and like just how it was perfectly picked up. I want to know what that key was, like to show how they were dropping. He just mentioned he saw something, but maybe it was something they saw on film. But
yeah, I wish I could tell you, but I have no clue. Maybe like just the guy's stance, like he was kind of because when you have to get as deep as when you're in a 4-point stance to have to get deep to cover that hook curl. You got to kind of pull up. He was
in a 2-point at the line.
Was he
in like a 3-tech 2-point, which is very strange.
But that's still a lot of ground to cover.
And that's why the play call is perfect. It's there's going to be nobody here. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the second half. So we're up 20-14. Now the offense is working. Like open up the second half with a 19-yard pass to Jared Wayne. Bartholomew makes a great catch on the next first down. They have a 26-yard run for Izzy to the outside. They have not had a negative play this entire drive. Then, after a penalty on Gabe Hoy for holding, I believe. No, it was the hands to the face. So it's like 2nd and 24. Like Keaton throws a pass. I have no idea where the fuck this thing is going. He throws it in between I forget who was going deep and Izzy kind of in the flats, but he just throws it the middle of nowhere and it gets picked off. This one was horrible. Horrible pass to make. This one was...
Especially when, like you said it, especially when things were working as well as they are.
Yeah, it was just like, you can't do that.
Kind of had a chance to, like, put this game away earlier. If you put that
Absolutely.
drive
And then
together.
like if you're up 2 scores, man, that it changes the tone of the game, and this let the game's momentum flip for sure. Mm-hmm. Even though the defense holds Duke to a punt on the next drive, on Pitt's next drive, once again the offense is sort of moving. On 3rd and 13, we have a 14-yard pass to Gavin to move the chains. A 10-yard pass on 1st and 15. Then on 3rd and 5, Keaton rolls out, throws across his body, and right to a Duke linebacker.
This is when you got to throw. I mean, I know it's 3rd down. I know he's trying to make a play.
But if you're going to try and make a play, you don't throw it across your body. That was the problem that I had.
It's like the first rule you learn as a quarterback is to not make that throw.
It's every time you watch the Brett Favre interception from that NFC Championship game. Hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
It never works.
Because not only is it going to get picked off, but I feel like those are always the ones, too, because the entire offense is moving to the right.
Yeah.
You throw it back across your body, and that's picked off and going to the house. Like, it wasn't this time, obviously, but...
Now, they stopped Duke on a turnover on downs on the 32 after forcing some incompletions. They basically get 1 first down, they turn it over on downs. Now, Pitt, after this, starts chugging out yards with Rodney Hammond, but it's just 3 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry. Pass to Kanata Mumfield for 6 yards, another first down. Now, they get to the Duke 42, so they're over midfield. And they punt it away. Now, Duke's pinned at their own 10, and then they force a fumble on a run play. I forget who was carrying. They don't say it on this here, but Brandon Hill scoops, scores in the right place, and we're up 28-14.
Yeah.
So this was really good. This was great. It I think it gave us a lot of energy, but the problem was the defense had been out on the field too long. The next drive was sort of the same as Duke's last of the first half, where they just looked gassed. Like they just kept.
Yeah.
Like, they would run, and, like, they'd make contact. They'd get 4 yards after contact, or they'd just have a guy open on 3rd down. And
I can't remember. Was this the point where you said, we're going to lose this game?
I believe it was.
Right. Even after the scoop and score, you're like, this is not over.
No, because this is the one where there was a break in pass coverage, and they had that wide-open touchdown.
Oh, yeah. There was just nobody
there. Yeah. There was a buzzer. The safety just went the wrong way. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, that's open. So.
Yeah, just right down the sideline for a nice, 40 or 50-yard chunk.
49-yard touchdown pass, yep.
Yep.
So after Pitt punts it away again on their next drive, Duke goes 11 plays from their own 15. They turn it over on downs at the Pitt 37. Now, Pitt's next drive, the offense basically does nothing. They're actively trying to kill clock here.
Yeah, that's all it was. They were just sitting on it.
Yeah, so they can't complete a pass on 3rd down at their own 44. It's okay, punt. They have to go the whole field. Except high snap, and the punter loses the ball, and he sits on it, but they get the ball. So at the You really can't make this up. So.
Yeah.
So they get the ball at the Pitt 22 with about 3 minutes left, and the defense is just gassed. I mean, they get to 3rd downs, they can't stop them, and even when they get a penalty on 3rd and 8, they stop them on 3rd down. 4th down, they have that touchdown where they just find the soft spot over the middle, and I think it's the running back was running an angle route.
Yep.
It just falls backward into the end zone. So now it's 26-28. Now Duke has to go for 2 here because I think I forgot to mention it, but on Duke's last touchdown drive, they went for 2 and failed. I forget what play it was, but it just didn't end up working out. Now I'm freaking out. I'm like, we're losing this game. Duke then tries probably. It's just a play that doesn't work anymore. They try and essentially run the Philly special, and it gets blown up by maybe David Green. I forget who was.
I don't remember who it was either.
Because Cansey got hurt and Ahava wasn't playing, but they failed a 2-point. Pitt ends up winning the game. They recover the onsides, and that's it.
When was the last time a Philly special worked?
There's gotta be one recently.
You would think, but I feel like ever since, and this could be my fandom bias, but ever since Philly did it in the Super Bowl,
then
and
Pitt
did it
against
and Pitt did it in
UCF,
UCF, I haven't seen one that really worked. It's just like there's...
I think
everybody tries to get...
the Jets did it. The Jets did it. The Jets did it because Zach Wilson caught the touchdown pass. We have a cat on the keyboard.
Well, I guess maybe the ones that don't work are more memorable than the ones that...
Well, no, the ones that do work definitely are more memorable.
Fair. We'll forget about this one pretty quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they tried to get cute with it. It wasn't a very well executed.
No, they didn't block well in the interior.
Yeah.
It just got blown up.
Yeah. But it was... I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I put myself in a Duke fan's shoes. Just run like a normal play, right? I don't know. They like that entire.
Everything was working. Yeah. I don't know why I had to get cute with it.
Yeah, like
maybe it's because the last one didn't work, but even then, I don't know. Also, the other thing with Duke is that they're playing with house money, right? They were 7-3 coming into this game. So what do you have left to lose? You're making a bowl in your first year as Duke.
Yeah.
You're now third in the division. I think you only tiebreakers. You lost to Pitt. Yeah. So, you're sitting pretty to get not just a bowl, but one of the higher up ACC bowls. You might go to the quick lane, but you're not going to. I don't know, a worse one.
Yeah. One of those that you can't even think, like you can't even name.
The Sun Bowl. The Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. There's one that's worse, but I can't remember which. I think it's the Birmingham Bowl.
The Birmingham Bowl would be brutal to go to.
Yeah. Well, they got a new stadium.
Okay.
Okay.
You sold me.
Hey, Judge Trent, you guys, you go to. Hey, man, just fly into Atlanta, you fly to Birmingham. Yeah, 28-26, heart attack game. I think the only note I have on this game is that Duke's defense, for the most part, was keyed into the long ball play action. A couple of times, Keaton made these very risky throws. One was into quadruple coverage early in the game. And unlike Virginia, when those long balls were just underthrown, they were really keyed into what Pitt was trying to do with setting up the play action.
Yeah, it was, again, our best offense was our defense kind of thing.
Right? Without that score.
Literally, when we needed to score the most, they came up big.
Yeah. When the offense kept throwing picks, I'm like, fine. I'll do it myself.
It's literally the Thanos meme. But I'll say this: it wasn't pretty by any means, but
we're 7-4.
A win is a win, man.
Yeah.
I can't really complain at this point for winning football games.
I'll have some complaints if we don't make some changes in the offseason, namely offensive coordinator and special teams coach. But I mean, other than that, it was. Yeah, you can't really ask for much else except for a win, especially against a Duke team that is good. Yeah. It's had a good offense.
Very good team.
And holding a team that rushes for 200 yards a game to under 70 is certainly good. The offense looked good until we had some doy plays. That just kind of...
Just get rid of them.
Get rid of the offense and get rid of the guy who's running it. But, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. Now, the only other thing is that this, I think, was the biggest game left. You got Miami next, and, I don't want to
sleep on them, though.
I don't want to sleep on them, but...
Every single time we should beat them,
Narduzzi is 2-7, or Pitt is 2-7 against Miami since they've joined the ACC. And Narduzzi is 1-6, I want to say.
That's crazy. Yeah. The one being the freak Kenny Pickett coming out party, right?
Yeah, because I can't name you none times that they beat him.
Yeah.
But
so let's get some revenge this year.
It's gotta be
put a beating on them, considering they've had our number.
It's due, and we'll get to that in the preview, which is coming later in the episode. Let's go on to the rest of the weekend. So as you mentioned, this was almost a wild weekend. We'll start with the top four. So Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU all had very close games against Kentucky, Maryland, Michigan, or Illinois, and Baylor, respectively. let's start with 4. I didn't watch the TCU game. I was locked into the Pitt game. But that fire drill field goal was awesome.
Yeah. If I'm a kicker in that, I am shitting myself on the sideline.
13 seconds on the sideline. Everyone.
Yeah.
The miraculous thing is that there were no procedural penalties on TCU.
Yes. Actually, an act of God.
They just don't lose. You just have to respect not losing at this point.
Yeah. I think I called this a trap game, and it was for a long time. Yeah. But winners win, man. Mm-hmm. Winners win. So I think they're guaranteed a spot in Big 12 championship now.
I think they've had it locked up for a week, but yes, they are. We'll talk conference championship races on the preview, but yeah, they are locked in. Michigan struggled with Illinois. Their receivers and their quarterback not good, and Blake Corum got hurt in this game, so that's a huge thing to look forward to in the game next week. Ohio State sort of messed around Maryland. They won 43-30. It would have been closer if they didn't have the defensive touchdown after a strip sack on Tagovailoa to end the game. But Maryland had a chance to win this one with about 2 minutes left in the game. But
yeah, was mad. Brett couldn't get it done. Illinois over Michigan. That last drive though.
They got
see that pick play?
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad. If I'm a Illinois fan, I am irate about that.
They've gotten boned by the refs so many times this season in all of their losses. There was the clear touchdown call that should have been reversed. They got hosed a bit in the Purdue game as well. So Illinois is 7-1 and 0-3 against the refs.
Yeah, but I mean they're
on the
flip driver's seat for the future in that
division. Yeah, they've lost their driver's seat for the division this year, but Brett Bielema has them in great place. I mean, if you're going 8-4 in your second year in Illinois, that's unheard of.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. But on the flip side, having both Ohio State and Michigan undefeated this year after what happened last year, that's just awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna make for a great game this week, but I also just wanted some chaos.
Yeah,
when there was a point today where pretty much everybody in the top 4 could have lost, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, Georgia defeats Kentucky 16-6. Kentucky stopped Georgia's passing game, but their offense stinks. So
yeah, well they're playing a pretty good defense there too, but
yeah.
I mean. They covered, so consider it a win, Kentucky.
That's true. Let's get into the chaos. Number 5, Tennessee, nearly gets doubled up by South Carolina, 63-38.
I'm not a Spencer Rattler fan.
No,
but this was it was kind of a fun Spencer Rattler game.
It was the Spencer Rattler game.
Yeah.
They just couldn't stop Spencer Rattler. Now, Hendon Hooker tore his ACL in this game.
Yeah, that's tough.
It wouldn't have mattered. They were down. They already led up 35 points in the first quarter. So, listen, I hate to see that. Hendon Hooker's a great and fun player to see, but Tennessee is now out of the playoff picture entirely.
Yep.
But I think this was...
They sold their soul to beat Nick Saban in Alabama, and...
It's still a great year for Tennessee, but this was an unexpected result in the most ridiculous fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 touchdowns to Spencer Rattler to South Carolina. South Carolina, by the way, looked awful in their last couple games. I mean, in losses to Florida and Missouri, they could only muster up 6 and 10 points respectively. So, woof. But
yeah, I mean, you got to think that's just kind of a. When you see your starting QB,
I think he went down in the 3rd, I want to say.
Did he?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure exactly when he got hurt either, but that's just deflating to, even if you were going to try to muster up a comeback at that point.
Yeah. They just couldn't stop USC.
Yeah.
LSU takes care of business. Now, the big game of the weekend, number 7 USC versus number 16 UCLA. USC wins 48-45. I hate this team. I hate watching this team. This was objectively a really fun game, but I don't like watching this team. I miss Jordan Addison. He was really fun to watch. He was always open, doing his thing, busting it down the only way he knows how he can. Mm-hmm. But the USC defense just annoys me because they're not good. They're not good. They let up a ton of yards, but they just come up with crazy turnovers at the most opportune times. And this is just a Lincoln Riley team. They're not serious. They'll get turned into dust by any of the other playoff contenders.
Yeah.
But yeah, USC is alive for the playoff.
They are.
If they go undefeated in their next two, right? Because they locked up a spot in the Pac-12 title game, which will most likely be against Oregon.
Who's in between that?
Notre Dame. Ranked Notre Dame. And assuming that everything else plays out, you get one game out of Michigan, Ohio State will have to lose. Georgia wins out, and TCU wins out. They're guaranteed that 4 spot because they do have a good strength of schedule. But I just want to say this team annoys me, and Caleb Williams is just like the most annoying quarterback to watch because he just always makes great plays. He runs for first down. He throws on the run. He always finds the open guy. Extremely annoying, but also really good. So you got to respect it.
Yeah. He was really hoping the Pac-12 would eat itself a little bit here. Looked like there was a pretty good chance.
There was a pretty good chance, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think back to our preview, and I didn't think USC was going to have this good of a year. I know a lot of people were up on them. I kind of thought that it was going to take a year or two to get cooking, but they really just hit the ground running, and they're going to be there for. They're here. They arrived.
Well, now they're in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They're here for one more year, and then they get to play at Iowa in the snow in November.
That is going to be
that'll at least be fun.
All right, that brought a smile to my face.
Number 9 Clemson wins 40-10 over Miami. They've already got their spot locked up, but now this means Miami is not bowl eligible. They're 5-6, so going to the match with Pitt next week, they'll be fighting for a bowl spot. And Clemson is definitely a winner of the chaos of this week. So they're going into a game against South Carolina, which I don't think is going to double up their performance. But if they get lucky with some chaos, they can backdoor their way into the playoff, for sure.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also just wild to think about that this was like, again, I love looking back to the beginning of the year and thinking about like how everybody thought Miami was going to win the Coastal.
Yeah.
And this could have been like the preview to the...
It could have been a rematch game. Yeah.
And now it's just pretty much, not the exact opposite, because Clemson's still making some noise doing their thing, but how bad Miami is still funny.
Yeah. Elsewhere in the Pac-12, Oregon beats Utah 20-17. Sort of unexpected. They won with defense instead of just running their offense all over the place.
Yeah, I really thought it was kind of going to be like a shootout.
Yeah, but now they're in control for the other spot in the Pac-12 championship game. Utah, you have failed me for the last time. Disavow. The other top-ranked team in the ACC, number 13 North Carolina, sort of a playoff dark horse, loses to Georgia Tech 21-17.
How does it feel?
So I just want to point this out that Georgia Tech and their interim head coach Brent Key have now completely annihilated any Coastal team with any sort of hopes on the year. They beat us. They beat Duke, who's the only other team in the division with a running record, and now they've beaten UNC, and it completely knocked them out of the playoff conversation.
Are they just the Kingslayers?
I think that interim's gonna get the job.
I mean, for what are they on the year?
Well, they're 5-6. They got to play Georgia next. I don't think they're gonna pull that upset off. That would be wild.
Wouldn't it be funny?
It would be funny, but I'm not gonna pick that one.
Yeah, that'll be a good old rivalry week for Georgia Tech. There.
That would be insane. But I just want to point this one out because this was the definition of a choke by UNC. They go up 17-0 in the second quarter and then proceed to not score again.
Yeah, that's not even. Yeah, that's the craziest part about it. How dynamic that offense is, and they just couldn't figure it the fuck out.
No, and like Zach Gibson, their quarterback, who's objectively terrible, didn't turn it over. They weren't really successful on the ground as far as Georgia Tech goes. Their leading rusher only had 47 yards, but goddamn, Mac Brown, you got. And the big thing about this is that they could have pulled away. They had like 4th and close to goal with about 4 minutes left, and Josh Downs, their like all-world receiver, NFL talent, drops the go-ahead touchdown pass, and that's the game.
Hate to see it.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
And by that, I mean you don't at all.
No. Absolutely not. No, we're laughing. We're laughing. I just want to point this out because it was a funny first half score. Kansas State 48, West Virginia 31. They hit the over in the second quarter. In this game, they had like 60 combined points by that point. West Virginia looks a little checked out, and Kansas State is in the driver's seat for the Big 12 Championship's other spot. So we're looking at a purple out in that conference.
Let's go.
Washington beat Colorado. They're still alive in the Pac-12. They killed Colorado 54-7. Notre Dame turned Boston College into dust, which means that this matchup against UNC is going to be a fairly high ranked on ranked matchup. UCF, sort of the front runner for the Group of 5 NY6 spot, they got Service Academy 17-14.
They did. Speaking of Navy and service academies, do you see their
the space helmets? Those are so
cool.
I don't know about the jersey, but the helmets are lovely.
Yeah,
lovely.
Cool. I don't know. Did they say what game they're going to use them for?
It's got to be the next game. They're not. I don't think they wear them for the Army Navy game. I think they reveal those in the build.
That's a whole different thing, right? Yeah. Well, they get to wear two cool ass uniforms back to back then.
Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Looking stylish while they do it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Wouldn't It Be Funny games.
Let's go. We had one hit since I think the first time since the second week.
So, Florida 24, Vanderbilt 31. So this is like a twofer.
Yeah, because you had Texas A&M as your honorable.
Well, that was the honorable. The UMass ended up covering, which is, that's like a half win.
Yeah.
So we're like 1.5.
You get a little, like, you do the laugh when you're like looking at something funny on your phone. Like,
it's a snort. It's a chuckle. it's But no, this is a twofer because you said if they win this, Vandy's not going to be last in the SEC as far as SEC conference record goes.
Right.
A&M with their match against LSU next week is pretty much guaranteed to only have one conference win.
Yeah.
So, hey man,
you
picked
Vandy.
the right one.
Look at
Vandy. I mean, that's great. I don't know if you're going to go bowling because you got Tennessee next, but no head to hooker. That'd be wild.
Wouldn't it be funny? Vanderbilt's the hottest team in the SEC.
Is that a preview? Is that a preview, sir? No one knows. I want to touch on some quick ACC play real quick. Virginia Tech, who was 2-8 coming to the game, beats 8-2 Liberty 23-22, vanquishing the odious school from. I forget where their university is, but
I believe Virginia.
Well, they're in Virginia, but I forget the exact. And they might be from Lynchburg.
Yeah, let's go with Lynchburg.
That'd be also funny.
Yeah.
Lynchburg, but yeah, they beat them. So good for Virginia Tech. Not gonna make a bowl, but at least you got one good win. Sort of going through the rest of the games here. Kansas failed me. They got turned to dust by Texas. But I guess that's what Steve Sarkisian does when his team's out of the running. They have a big win.
We're back.
We beat
as soon
Kansas.
as we're not.
Well, that's how it works. The cycle starts anew in Austin. Going through the rest, not a lot of happening as far as the rest of the slate goes. Sort of just your end of the season. Not a lot of important games. The only real important game is that Iowa beat Minnesota, so they control their own destiny in the Big Ten West. Did we have a Christmas game this week? I can't remember. No, because we did the preview by ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So, that concludes the recap. We're going to put a short intermission here. If you want to listen to the whole thing, maybe you're commuting or traveling for the holiday, awesome. But if you want to save this for later, we are going to do the preview. We're going to start with the Black Friday games. I believe the Egg Bowl's on Black Friday. But, so for the transition, I'm going to put in a special clip. It is the 15th anniversary of this clip. It's a piece of ACC history. It's the gold nugget in the conference's history. The 15th anniversary is on Thanksgiving Day, so if you really want to, be true to the clip, festive. You just play it right before everyone sits down to eat. You go ahead and play this intermission. But
it's like saying grace.
Yeah, we'll see you on the other side of this clip.
2nd down and 7. You got to like all of those Maryland linebackers. Here's Andre Brown. Brown, who was with Tony Baker. This team is so different, really. I look at MCC. We got a flag on play. It's in the backfield. 10 starters have missed at least a game with an injury. 3 have been lost for the season. The hold against the Wolfpack. Tony Brown, Anthony Hill, Javon Walker, all gone. 2 of them offensive players. Anthony Hill, one of the preseason first team All-ACC tight end. Block in the back as Tom O'Brien looks on. Tony Brown.
Personal foul. 69. Offense. He was giving them the business. He played it down.
That's a good one. Giving them the business.
Ron Cherry with the quote of the year.
Boy, would have been a lot of flags back in the day if that would have been called. Man.
Oh, giving him the business. Can you look that up in the rule book?
Well, problem is we can't even give you a verbal interpretation of it.
No, I think Ron just did.
And what was he doing? He was giving him the business. Welcome back from the transition. As always, I'm still your host, Zack Kaminsky. Mason Kling is still with me in studio. And Kent Vanderwood is serving a lengthy jail sentence in Qatar. And it's Miami week.
Canes down. Or used down.
Used
break
down.
him over.
Used down. Break him over the knee. I want, if you're driving even, I want you to take both hands off your wheel, break the U, and then
put that cruise control on.
Put the cruise control on, break that U over your knee, and then break your front end of your car. Yeah, I mean, we thought this game was going to be big, sort of having different implications when we went into the season. It's still a big game. This is sort of, if Pitt wins this, they have officially, I think, salvaged their season. And for Miami, it is a huge game. They're 5-6. They're looking for a bowl berth, and they've had Pitt's number. And I think it's time that Pitt is due for a win against Miami. The last one was in 2017, the famous Kenny Pickett first start game. But yeah, this is what it all comes down to. It's 2 teams that were sort of had a lot of preseason hype, have certainly disappointed in very different regards, but hey man, it's here. It's 8 o'clock on the ACC network. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and it is, as always, a must-win. If we get to 8-4, it's still a disappointing season in a lot of regards, but it's a win.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
It's light at the end of the tunnel, even if I still want everything to be changed, but it shows we got resilience, and I think that is really important for a team. Sort of, if you can bounce back, you can kind of sell it to recruits. You can do what you need to on the recruiting trail, get a new quarterback in, and just honestly, it's also just about exercising a demon against this Miami program that really has had your number since joining the ACC. Pitt is 2-7 against them. Obviously, the last one is 5 years ago. We've come close. We had the 16-12 game back in 2019. We had last year's game, which was pretty much decided on that controversial safety ruling. And also, if we win, we're kicking them while they're down. And that is very important to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for the break there. So let's sort of get into it. The quarterback for Miami, I actually don't know. I don't know if Tyler Van Dyke is hurt, benched, or what have you, but they have gone through 3 different quarterbacks this year. They have used all 3 of Tyler Van Dyke, Jake Garcia, and Ja'Cory Brown. Here, do you have anything to vamp while I look up their game history?
They put us in the night slot. I think they knew this was going to be 2 juggernauts. Juggernauts. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Juggernauts duking it out. I don't know. I want this one really bad, just because of really that 2020 season, or 2021 season. I'm sorry. Wait.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah. Jeez. For the way that last game kind of did us in for not having an argument in the playoff, and I don't know, it's just It's a win that
it means a lot to me.
I think in the right direction.
I said earlier this week that I think Miami is the team I care most about beating in the ACC, just because they're Miami. They're the big baddie on our side, and just because it's been so long, we've been so close that this is, besides West Virginia and Tennessee, was the other game I had circled on my calendar coming into the year. Now, as far as their quarterback situation goes, in their loss against Clemson last week, they played Ja'Cory Brown and Jeff Garcia.
Wait, is his name actually Jeff Garcia?
It's Jake. It's
okay,
Jeff.
I was going to say, that'd be really funny if there was a second Jeff Garcia.
Ja'Cory Brown seems to be the starter. I believe Tyler Van Dyke is hurt. I'm not sure of his status for this game. But, if Miami's coming at you with the backup quarterback and what seems to be a fairly ineffective rushing attack against good teams with, pulse rush defenses, this is one I think you have to have, especially because it's been a defense that has not been sort of the standard for a Miami defense. They're letting up over 100 rushing yards per game, and their offense only seems to really get worse against the better competition they play. In their 5-6 record, the only ACC teams they have beaten have been Georgia Tech, UVA, and Virginia Tech. So they've really only fed on the bottom feeders of the conference. And, I'm not really sure how the offense is going to fare. I think that probably there's going to be a turnover or two from the quarterback that's going to kill some momentum, as we've seen in a lot of games. But you have to have this one, especially if they're trotting out a backup quarterback, and all their quarterbacks have been bad, but especially their backups. You really have to really hammer this team and make sure they do not have any opportunity to really even be in the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that the defense is a pretty good opportunity here to get the foot on the throat early and just kind of really, really control the game. It can literally be one of those games where
they're just never in it, right?
Yeah, and we just hand the ball to Izzy probably about 30 times.
Clemson ran for 200 on them, and they were kept under 100 total yards of offense against Clemson.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest deciding factor. I was just looking it up quick, and I couldn't find anything on Tyler Van Dyke's status for this week. But that would be the only thing. I think they could kind of bring them back in, which doesn't exactly, he's not like a world-changing quarterback, but does give them at least a little bit more of a chance in this game.
Right, he's certainly the best quarterback on the team, even if he is having a very disappointing season. One thing to note from the Clemson game is that Clemson's leading receiver, who had 3 catches, 57 yards, a long of 49, was a tight end. Throw Gavin the ball. I'd really like to see that. But
no, he's going to run block, and you're going to like it.
Oh man, I feel so bad for him. But really, you have to take advantage that they don't have a running game, that they really struggle to move the ball against competent defenses. You have to prey on the fact that their quarterbacks, all 3 of them, are turnover prone for such bad times, and you got to protect the ball on offense. No stupid throws.
Yeah, I think that if we just don't make mistakes, I think this is going to be. I don't want to say easy sailing, but I think if we don't turn it over, I think it's easy sailing.
Yeah, I think the only key is that I think one of the complaints I've had all year about this offense that they don't really have a finishing gear or a killer instinct. I think they tend to sit on leads too early. They have sort of some poor play calling to try and run the clock out when it comes to the second half. And it's come back to bite us a lot when you're sitting on a lead and your defense has to be out there for a long time. If you're up early on this team, do not sit it in park. This is a team that's harassed you, has gotten wins over you that it doesn't deserve, and you need to just exercise some demons. Get to 8-4, salvage the season.
Yep.
And
hashtag salvage the season.
Hashtag salvage the season. For the week. Hashtag salvage the season, but also fire everyone and get a new quarterback.
Yeah.
We're nothing if not inconsistent in our wants. Okay, let's preview the rest of Rivalry Week. So, There is some weekday action on Tuesday. I guess you might hear this before the games go off. So on Tuesday night, the most important game is Ohio hosts Bowling Green. This is a playing game for the MAC title, or the MAC championship. If Ohio wins, they're in. If Ohio loses and Buffalo wins, Buffalo is in the championship game, even though they've played one less game due to a canceled game in a snowstorm because of tiebreakers.
Wow.
Which is a very, very interesting way to do it. I like how every conference has their own tiebreaker rules. Each one of them has one weird and bad rule.
It's part of the clause when forming a league. You must have one obscure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Thursday, November 24th at 7 p.m. Egg Bowl on ESPN. I'm very excited for this. The Egg Bowl is always fun in my eyes because fans really do just don't like each other. Teams don't like each other.
Yeah.
I mean, and these are two fairly good teams. I think Ole Miss got pasted last week. They got blown out by Arkansas. But Mississippi State has been solid. I think that's one of the teams I was right on this season. And honestly, I just like watching the Egg Bowl. I just like watching these two teams play.
I like Mississippi State in this game, even though we're at...
I think they have a much better defense than Ole Miss. I think I agree.
I think Mike Leach is going to get them right.
Would it be his first win in the Egg Bowl?
I was just thinking that because...
I think it is.
It might be.
If I'm not...
It might be, which would be huge. Would be huge for the boy.
Yeah, I'm going to look this up real quick. But, I mean, Mississippi State 7-4. They're bowl eligible, which is always a big thing there. Ole Miss has definitely fallen off following that Alabama loss. But I don't even think we touched on this in the recap, but Arkansas killed them. Just turned them into dust.
Yeah.
Let's see, Egg Bowl history. Because I actually want to be right about this. I feel like... Leach started coaching in 2020, correct?
That sounds right.
Right. Game results, if we go all the way to the bottom. Yes, correct. The last Mississippi State win was the Piss and the Miss. Yep. All right, let's move to Friday. The Black Friday slate is actually pretty low. There's a lot of games on Black Friday. We'll start noon ABC. The Christmas game of the week.
Shout out Cat.
We had a smuggled message out of the Qatari prison that he's currently in for drinking that Bud non-zero. He's drinking that Bud 1.
It came off a pigeon. Rolled up a note on his leg that just said Tulane Cincy, Christmas.
Hey man, it's red and green, and this is probably the most important Christmas matchup of the week because this is a play-in for the American Championship game.
Yep.
Winner is in the championship and gets the home field. I love the American Championship. They just play at the home stadium, which
that is kind of cool.
More conferences should. They're never going to do it because conferences like money.
Yeah,
but
yeah. The winner of that would play.
So the winner of that plays. If UCF beats USF, they play UCF. If UCF manages to lose, they play it's an instant rematch. Or maybe Houston, but probably not. They have a insane tiebreaker rule. Like, I'm not even going to try and describe it because it has to do with computer rankings, but it's extremely stupid, and I actually kind of like it.
Yeah. The dumber the better. That's what I always say.
Moving on to the 3:30 slot, we have NC State, North Carolina. Has lost a lot of steam now that North Carolina biffed it against Georgia Tech, but hey, it's a good rivalry game, and there's not a lot else going in the slot.
Love UNC in that game.
Yeah, probably.
Bounce back game against little brother.
Yeah, okay.
NC State had some high expectations. Could use one more loss in the season here, and I like UNC here.
They've also lost 2 in a row and are
kind of spiraling.
Yeah. I was going to ask if they were still ranked. These are last week's playoff rankings, I believe. Yeah, I think so. 4 o'clock. This is another conference championship pilled game, but Nebraska at Iowa on Big Ten Network. If Iowa wins this, they're in. If they lose this and Purdue wins against Indiana, Purdue is in. If they both lose and Illinois beats Northwestern, Illinois is in. That's the Big Ten West.
Dude, kind of kind of want that last case scenario. I want Illinois in this.
I absolutely want Illinois.
I think that they've showed they can compete with Michigan.
They've got a nasty defense, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess the same can be said for Iowa, but they've also looked really shitty at points. And same with Purdue.
Yeah. So. I selfishly want Purdue because that was my preseason pick.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Oh, shit. Who's your pick in the Christmas game, by the way? We wouldn't do
that. I'm going to take Tulane.
Yeah, I'll ride the green wave with you.
I'm riding the wave.
Okay. Nightcap, 7:30 on ABC, Florida State. This is always just a fun rivalry game, but I think Florida State might take care of business here.
Given what happened last week with Vandy over Florida. But it's tough, man, with rivalry week and stuff. Like, Florida's going to get up for this game.
Absolutely. And Florida won this game last year when Florida State was looking for a bowl berth. So, but no, they're taking care of other rivalry games as well. Let's go into Saturday. So this is, there's one game that everyone's going to be watching in the noon slot. That is number 3 Michigan goes to number 2 Ohio State.
I thought you were going to say Georgia and Georgia Tech.
No, please. If that's an interesting game, I will be watching it, but I highly doubt it. Line is 36. Ohio State is favored by 7.5 points. This one has some heat on it after they lose the game for the first time in what seems like forever. Ohio State's coming, revenge tour. Michigan has looked extremely vulnerable the last couple of weeks. J.J. McCarthy has not looked good at all. The receivers look like a hot pile of ass. And Blake Corum might not be healthy. Donovan Edwards should be back, who's their backup former 5-star. But if Blake Corum can't go, this one might get, ugly. I don't know, man. I guess the real matchup here is, again, it's Michigan's O-line versus the Ohio State D-line. Have they improved enough to stop this Michigan rushing attack? Because this O-line is still potent, it's still powerful, and to an extent, it doesn't matter who's rushing behind it when it comes to Corum versus Edwards. If neither of them can go, then it's sort of a moot point. You have your third string guy, and it's sort of hard to ask a program to be 3 deep at running back. But
yeah,
even so, just the heat on this game. I'll put in some.
I love it.
Free advertising. I'm on the message board that our friend Ryan was promoting on our ACC preview, Meet at Midfield. If you want to post with me, go join. I think there's a promo code going, but it's a Michigan versus Ohio State board, and the pregame threads they're getting wild. I've seen some posts from some Ohio State fans. I'm ready to run through a brick wall for a university I didn't attend. I'm just yeah, fuck. Let me jump in that frozen lake and do some fucking damage or something. I don't know. But
this is why this is the game. This is why we watch college football.
Yeah, 100%.
I like Ohio State in this game, but 7 points is a rat line. It's too big of a number for me. I like Ohio State to win. I think Michigan covers. I think the last kind of...
I think they'll cover if Corum's playing. If he's not, I think it could get bad for Michigan if he's not playing.
Is that Illinois last week creeping up in your brain? What?
Well, because once Corum went down, they couldn't do absolute jack, and I don't think they have the receivers or the quarterback play to overcome him being hurt and Donovan Edwards not being 100%. This might just be a game that's been so hyped up to only get shot in the knee by injuries to Michigan late, but I think it's a much more interesting game if Corum is playing. Edwards, I think, might make up for it, but I think it's too much of a wild card for me to call this game to be close. I would appreciate it being a close game. I want to see a good game. I want to see it back and forth like it was last year. Selfishly, I do want Michigan to win because they were my Big Ten pick. So, once again, I'm rooting with complete interest in our completely awful season predictions.
They were really bad. They were really bad.
Yeah, I have to unpin that thread.
Yeah.
No one can find it.
Bury it. Oh, yeah. I hear you, I guess. I just think that, especially with this being the second year in a row, that they were both in the top 4 last year for this game, right?
Michigan might have been They were 4, right? Or were they 5 or 4? I think they were. I think they were 5.
They could have been.
I think they were 5 and 4.
Okay.
Or no, 5 and 2. 5 and 2. Sorry.
But still, like that same winners pretty much guaranteed in the playoff.
Yeah.
Losers not. I just think it's going to be another like close game.
Yeah. I mean, the last time they were 3 and 2 was the spot game in 2016. Mm-hmm. So I mean, this produces fucking bangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
This is going to be.
I mean, I won't lie. I'm going to watch it start to finish. But
yeah, I think 90% of America will be. There's some other decent games in this slot, but
this is the game.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask you this: does South Carolina have it in them? Do it twice in a row. They go to number 9 Clemson, same time on ABC.
If there was ever a time, it'd be now.
It'd be now for sure.
I mean,
I don't know. Clemson's defense just isn't Tennessee's, right? Like I think that's.
I mean, the shootout strategy definitely favors South Carolina as compared to gut punch game kind of.
Yeah, but are you going to get a shootout with Clemson against this defense?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like the only team that's beaten Clemson is beating them with their own defense and special teams and all that. And I'm going to keep an eye on this one. Might go second screen, but I don't know.
What's the line here?
Clemson by 14.5. I don't know. They might have some fire in them after beating number 5, but
also could be a huge letdown.
Right, exactly.
Clemson could win by 30.
Right. I thought they had the juice a couple years ago and they got beat 30-0. So
yeah, I'm gonna lead more towards that was a fluke Spencer Rattler game and that.
Right, he just went nuclear. He like blacked out, had the spirit of quarterback enter him, and
the last good quarterback to play at South Carolina, which
Garcia.
Yeah. two Jeff Garcia matches on this pod. Wow.
He's tremendous. He's our number 1 listener now.
Yeah.
Let's move into the afternoon slot. Iron Bowl, 3:30 CBS. It's the Iron Bowl.
It's the Iron Bowl. This was close. This was a close game last year.
Yes,
this was a close game last year. So I'm not gonna
rule it out. Cadillac Williams has those guys hyped up. Alabama looks susceptible. I think it would be extremely funny if they lost a third time. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't have high hopes. But yeah, I'll probably throw it on.
Auburn team's just a little bit different this year. They're not.
They got nobody.
Yeah.
They got nobody. I'm not going to put too much stock in them beating A&M, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on. So also on ABC at the same time is Oregon versus Oregon State. This is Oregon. If they win, they're into the other slot in the Pac-12 title game. Also, great rivalry name that they had to disavow is the Civil War.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
It's so hard.
Why was that it though? Neither of those they didn't exist during the Civil War.
No, Oregon was in the Union. I think they were Union State at that point. Yeah, but they were Union State. It's not even like...
Well, that means Oregon State was fighting for the South.
Well, it's like not even like Oregon State's from like the eastern racist part of like the Cascades. It's just like, no, they're like 20 miles from each other or something.
Yeah.
But this one, I think Oregon is going to have a lot on their hands here. I think Oregon State has been a really good team. They're 8-3. They're a great season. And
I mean, they put up a fight against
USC.
I forget who their other 2 losses are, but they were against the better team.
I think it was
UCLA was one.
Utah and Washington.
They
got stopped by Utah, but they only lost to Washington, the other contender, by 3. So I don't think this is a team to even like sort of pass over. I think this is going to be if the Iron Bowl goes bad, I think this one could be a really good game.
Yeah.
So around the horn, sort of here, it's more rivalry games. You have Minnesota, Wisconsin, Purdue, Indiana, Wake Forest, and Duke. By the way, this is the first time in like forever that all 4 North Carolina teams are going bowling.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because Wake Forest and Duke have been terrible forever. But
yeah, wow, good for the state of North Carolina.
They're up tremendous. They're 4-4.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's rivalry week. These games are going to be closer than Let me think. TCU gets their last chance to lose of the season against Iowa State. This would be like classic Iowa State upset, but I don't think they have the juice. They're 4-7. They're 1-7 in the Big 12.
It's a home game for TCU too. It'd be a little bit different if they were playing
in Ames. Yeah, for sure. LSU is A&M on the road. I don't think that's really gonna go in A&M's favor. This is 7:00 on ESPN. Moving into the night slate now. Like you mentioned earlier, UCF goes to South Florida. Another rivalry game, but South Florida has no juice at all. So probably UCF is going to be competing for that last spot in the American title game. Big game here, though, is ABC. Number 18 Notre Dame goes to number 7 USC. Very small line in this game. Only 5 points to favor USC. The Notre Dame defense, I wonder how they hold up against the USC offense. I think that's the big story because the USC defense is obviously susceptible to giving up points. They're susceptible to giving up running yards or rushing yards. That's how they lost to Utah. That's how they nearly lost. I mean, UCLA had a lot of success on the ground last week.
So, counterpoint to that, I feel like every time there's one of these games where it's that crazy good offense versus a pretty stout defense, almost like the deciding factor is the flip of that. So
right,
it's like, can USC's defense make a stop? Can Notre Dame's offense make a play? Like, can they score enough points to stay in this?
I think they have the rushing attack to sort of put some juice into this game. They don't ask a lot of their quarterback, and they're going to have to, but I think this one's going to be really good, and I think it's the best game by far in the night slot. I mean, you have Kansas State at 8 o'clock on Fox too. So if K-State wins here, they're in on the other side of the Big 12. If they lose, Texas has to beat. I scrolled by their game because I completely paid it no attention. But Texas plays Baylor on Friday. So if they win, they're going to wait and see for the night result in the Sunflower Classic.
So Texas wins, Kansas State loses, Texas is in.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I want to see the K-State rematch, and that's a lot more exciting in the Big 12 title game.
Okay.
But back to USC. I'm actually curious. Well, how many rushing yards per game is USC giving up? That is sort of the deciding factor in this game, right?
Well, that almost might be like a little bit of a. It's a good stat to look at, but like they're also not exactly ground and pound over there in the Pac-12.
Right, but if you're giving up that much rush, like they're giving up 150 rushing yards per game to Pac-12 teams. Oh. So I think the Notre Dame offense has a chance here for sure. I mean, they have what it takes. They've got the stout defense and they've got a rushing offense. I think this one's going to be close, and if it's going to be a landslide in either way, I think it might favor Notre Dame as far as a landslide win.
Wow. Take an alternate line here?
I might have to.
Yeah.
Might have to.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, that one I think is the big game sort of in your evening slate. You have the Apple Cup at 10:30 on ESPN, Washington versus Washington State. I think Washington probably handles them pretty well. Washington's been a lot better than Washington State this year, but that sort of rounds out rivalry week. Do you have a Wouldn't It Be Funny?
I do.
Hit me.
I do, and you're not going to like it.
Okay.
But we were just talking about it. If Kansas goes into Kansas State and lets Texas, lets Texas squeeze into the Big 12 championship game, kind of gives them a.
I'd be like happy for Kansas, but like be like, oh, I wanted to see the Purple Bowl. Yeah. I wanted to see the fucking Jerry Bowl full of purple.
I do. I will say this isn't a great week for like a Wouldn't It Be Funny because, like I don't know. There's not a lot of games that have
a lot of oomph.
Yeah. I mean, like because they're the big ones, obviously. The ones that are
like there's the game, but there's not a lot of ranked on ranked this week.
Right, and there's not a lot to kind of go off of, and I mean, I guess maybe
I'm gonna do my honorary pick, Auburn. Auburn's my Wouldn't It Be Funny.
Okay. I don't hate that. I think that would be a very funny outcome.
Now, if Cadillac Williams beats Alabama, you have to give him the job, right? 100%.
Yeah.
Like, no question.
Yeah, because as an Auburn fan, you can ride that.
You can ride that
win out for the entire year.
That gets you to a bowl.
Yeah,
he's an Auburn guy.
Yeah,
like, if he does that, he pulls that off, a 21-point spread. that's your guy. And, like, that would be sort of, like, zagging as far as, like, hires go. Like, they're not hiring, like, an SEC lifer coach or, like, someone who, like, knows the business. They're just hiring an Auburn guy who loves the program. And I think that might just be what they need because it seems like the last couple hires just haven't had that sort of fire about the program. That like, someone like... Someone like it would be like kind of like a Brett Bielema hire. Like I don't know if he like has the love for Illinois because he's like an Iowa lifer. He's the Iowa tattoo on his leg. But, like he's like a Big Ten West guy. He has love for that style of football and like he like creates this awesome running game. Like I don't know, Kyle Looms, give him a good cycle of hires and show what he can do. And we're talking like he already won this game, but in the hypothetical that he does.
We'll look like geniuses if he does. Complete idiots if he does it. We're doing the off-season hypotheticals already. I love that. Wouldn't it be funny? That's
all right.
A good one.
Is that all for us?
I think that's it.
I think that's about it. If you're listening to this before Thanksgiving, have a great holiday. If you're not, hope you had a great holiday. If you like the pod, be sure to download it, subscribe. We have a Twitter. It's at Semple Fi Pod. You can follow your hosts from that show bio, but if you don't feel like going all the way to that, you can follow your host and me. You can follow me at I'm Real Angry. You can follow Mason at Clayson_Ming. You can follow Kent, our imprisoned, but still writing in for the Christmas game of the week. You can follow him at Kent_VW. And with that, we'll see you next week.
Go to Pitt.